Horror Fanatic here, picking up where we left off in the Prom Night franchise with the second installment of the series, Hello Mary Lou, Prom Night 2. This film has already been the subject of some internet reviews, so I'm going to do my best to not cover the same subjects, but unfortunately, some overlapping will occur. Sequel in name alone, Hello Mary Lou was originally titled The Haunting of Hamilton High, renamed after the film was completed by its distribution company, Alliance Films, in an attempt to cash in on the fame of the original Prom Night, a film that was 7 years old by this point. The Haunting of Hamilton High, excuse me, Hello Mary Lou, has numerous references to other films, and one of them is they have the same school, Hamilton High, one line of dialogue, and it involves prom. Technically 2 proms. These are the only things that have anything to do with the first Prom Night. Hello Mary Lou also deviates from its slasher roots here, becoming more of a possession film. A quick bit of forewarning, the tone becomes jumbled as the original cut was declared not scary enough, and around a third to a half the film was reshot in post-production. For those wondering, no, the trunk is never explained. Let's just assume it's magic, accept it, and move on. So after the mood has been set by the opening sequence, we cut to the titular character, Mary Lou Maloney, attending confession. The mood here is closer to the actual feel of the overall film than that of the opening sequence, with its dark but comedic tone over the straight horror of the establishing sequence. I'm just going to throw these up here now in the interest of time.
Many times.
My child, these are great sins.
Because while playing pranks on priests aren't inherently evil, these will make more sense in a moment or two.
There's one more thing.
I do like how Mary Lou owns her sexuality and isn't ashamed of it. Sadly, we don't see these kind of characters often, and when they do tend to be villains, and far more commonly victims. Now at prom, that magical night that doesn't actually mean a thing, yet still manages to get blown out of proportion in every high school. After Mary Lou sends her boyfriend of the past year, Billy, to get something to drink, she slips backstage with another boy, Buddy. What's with the B names? After Billy busts the 2 of them, only to be then embarrassed and dumped,
It's not who you come with, it's who takes you home.
Buddy collects himself in the bathroom. These 2 fools here make a stink bomb, only to ditch them at a moment's notice when Principal Romero comes in. That's correct, Romero. This film has a number of characters named for famous horror directors and authors, something I see as an homage to the film Night of the Creeps. This character here being named for George Romero, the famous director. Buddy snags the stink bomb and waits backstage for his moment to strike. I like the little touch they added here with the M and BN carved into the ladder. For Mary Maloney and Billy Nordham, I love the little touches like this that give a bigger sense of depth to the world as a whole. Mary Lou wins prom queen and accepts her crown. Wait a second, that song? I have to take a moment here. The song playing here is Mary Lou, performed by Ronnie Hawkins and the Hawks. Originally written by young Jesse and Sam Ling. The song tells the story of a gold-digging woman who, for his better judgment and repeated wrongs, the singer can't let go of. While the song does fit the character of Mary Lou, it doesn't really fit this moment. And they really do get their mileage out of this song, as it shows up repeatedly and is even once later referred to as our song by Mary Lou herself. Now, Billy, now hiding in wait, takes his moment for revenge with horrific results. I'm tempted not to give this last one, as she goes up way too easy. Like it's someone already had planned on killing her, by setting her on fire at a later time. Billy only just beating them to the punch. Like, what is she coated in that makes her grow up so fast? What is that dress made of? And why is no one putting her out? How did this girl win prom queen? No one's putting her out. Even Buddy doesn't. He acts like he is and then just stops and cries about it. Gym full of people and no one grabs the fire extinguisher. And this point is brought up all the time by reviewers. But it is a good point. These people right here, they let her burn. But we do get our first fatality of the film. Now, many years later, we meet the film's protagonist, Vicky Carpenter, named for John Carpenter, the famous director, doing her normal morning routine, checking herself out, eating breakfast. Here's a reference to another film. Again, this time it's Carrie, as Vicky's mom comes off as a very weak rip-off of Margaret White. And then she's off to coffee with her motorcycle riding boyfriend Craig. They have breakfast again, and we learn that Vicky doesn't like sugar in her coffee. No. She doesn't like sugar in her coffee. This is important for later. Seriously, it's an important plot point. She's off then to school, where we meet the rest of the film's lovable scamps. The class clown Josh, the bitchy best friend Monica Water, named after John Waters, and mean girl rival for prom queen, Kelly Helenotter, named for Frank Helenotter. We also learn that Billy has grown up to be Michael Ironside and principal of the school. We also learn that Vicky's boyfriend happens to be his son, and that Daddy Ironside is a bit overbearing. Next we meet another of Vicky's crazy-haired friends, Jess Browning, named for Todd Browning. Continuing on, as far as how she's dressed, it was the 80s. Things could have been worse. Vicky's mother won't let her buy a new dress for prom, so Jess gives her the idea to check out the prop room for old costume to jazz up, which is, of course, is located in the basement. And she actually finds a dress. Oh, and the creepy magic trunk, which she decides to pry open, because locked things are meant to be pried open. But she finds Mary Lou's sash and crown and her evil spirit, which is released, and she makes her presence known to Principal Ironside. This prompts Principal Ironside to consider visiting his good old friend Buddy, who's now a priest, and then decides against it. Back in class, Kelly and Vicky get sassy over the crown, and Jess has a minor freakout, which prompts Vicky to see what's wrong with her. The film does take a moment here to touch on a very serious issue of teen pregnancy, and which likely will lead into a very interesting subplot. But it doesn't, as in the very next scene happens, and Jess breaks the crown for some reason, and then is killed by the freed ghost of Mary Lou, who then visits her old squeeze father Buddy, because... The next day, Jess is found, buried. This town is awkwardly efficient with its funerals. And then Vicky finds Mary Lou's grave and has a moment, which is a bit of a plot hole that's often pointed out. So we're just gonna keep going. Back at the school, Kelly gets sassy.
You two should take the hint from Jess.
Oh, okay, that's more than sass. Oh, now she's getting this. Yeah, she earned it. But Vicky puts her right back in her place. Then we get some fun lines out of Josh. And Vicky starts to go crazy. These hallucination dream states are, as far as I can tell, everyone's favorite parts of the film, as they are mine. They're the only parts that come off as actually scary and are very blatant nods to the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Back at home, Mary Lou starts to actually possess Vicky. It's unclear to me when Vicky became possessed, but I like to think it was during the lunch hallucination when she was kissed by the greaser who calls her Mary Lou. As Mary Lou's ghost killed Jess separate from Vicky the night prior. Things get worse for her as Vicky gets dragged into another dream during gym. This is the second time she gets called Mary Lou. The first time, if we remember, by the greaser who kissed her. She handles it pretty well, all things considered, and gets sent home. Again, someone faints in class is what you do. But Mommy doesn't believe in doctors. She believes in confession. Like Carrie's mother. So Vicky visits Father Buddy, who learns of Mary Lou's return. Again. Alright. Gives her penance and sends her on her way. To get tormented again by Mary Lou. Why she's tormenting Vicky, I don't know. But damn do I find this horse creepy. I mean, Look at it. If this isn't nightmare fuel, I don't know what is. This prompts Vicky to visit Mary Lou's grave, because that's not a bad idea, and she bumps into Father Buddy. Knowing things are up for realies this time, he attempts to exorcise Mary Lou in a bad reference to The Exorcist. He loses his Bible in the process. Not gonna cry over that one. He attempts to warn Principal Ironside, but he's largely ignored. Vicky has a meltdown at the diner with Craig and puts sugar into her coffee. See? Important. Remember this again. Kelly asks Josh to rig the prom queen election, but is unhappy with his price. Then, Vicky slaps Kelly in class. Let's face it, she had that coming for the Jess comment earlier. And then Vicky gets sent to detention. Sadly, this is the last of Vicky's dream sequences, and I really enjoy it the most. Everything from the backwards help me, the pacing, and the mood of this whole scene works out great, and there's a marvelous example of special practical effects through the Force perspective. The magic trunk spews out the now fully possessed Vicky, who sets her sights on Father Buddy for reasons. Honestly, she does have them, like not putting her out, or trying to exorcise her, but that's not the motivation. It's far more insidious.
No fucking wings.
Whatever. He wasn't that enjoyable of a character anyway. Mary Lou, back to business as usual, in the dated outfits that she doesn't know time has passed, even though she clearly remembers being dead. Whatever, let's just roll with it. Although Josh does totally call this.
Linda Blairsville.
Which again, another reference to The Exorcist. Back in class, Mary Lou torches the crotch of her handsy science teacher, Mr. Craven, named after the horror icon Wes Craven, because she's a proper young lady. Monica makes the bad move of calling out the possessed Vicky, who decides the best way to convince Monica that she's fine is to seduce her. Why she does this, I don't know. Okay, that's a lie. I do know. Boobs. Monica knows something up and tries to get the hell out of there. Gets pursued by a slow-moving possessed Vicky, hides, and ends up juiced. Mary Lou then seduces Craig, only to knock him out, and gives Principal Ironside his own little nightmare. It's sadly the last one of the film, and when he awakens, Vicky's in his office. She makes it very clear to him that she's Mary Lou returned, and that she has her eyes set on his son. She then goes home to prepare for prom, ride a creepy horse, make out with her dad, and then kill her mom. Principal Ironside, having found his son off-screen, the two share a heart-to-heart. And then Principal Ironside knocks out his son with a shoe. A shoe. Craig must have the biggest glasses jaws ever. Principal Ironside then rushes off to dig up Mary Lou. Again, why? Reasons. And finds Father Buddy in her grave. This scene reminds me a lot of Witchboard, which was released a year prior to this film, so I can't help it's another reference. But unlike in Witchboard, I don't actually think these two were that close of characters, so it feels out of place. Craig wakes up and rushes off to prom, and Principal Ironside gears up and heads there himself. While at prom, Kelly finally agrees to Josh's terms to rig the election, which turns out to be fellatio. Wow, Josh. Monica seemed into you, dude. You don't gotta blackmail girls for this. It's creepy and it's wrong. But the film does need bodies. Mary Lou senses the disturbance, and then fries Josh, who had it coming because of the fellatio. And then she changes back the outcome to prom queen. Vicky is declared the winner by Eddie Wood. Another reference, this time to the famous B-movie director Ed Wood. Wait, what's Mr. Craven doing here? Did he forget what happened earlier today? 'Tis but a flesh wound. But Principal Ironside has to come in and ruin the prom for everyone. Again. Vicky dies in Craig's arms. Well, kind of. As Mary Lou tears herself free from her Vicky suit and goes on a Carrie-themed rampage that seems to regenerate her. Kelly gets the weakest death of the film at this point. Mary Lou then fights Craig, who chases him around the school, eventually leading him into the prop room. There is a great little moment right here. This is my favorite shot in the film, and I feel bad for mentioning it as it's mentioned by other reviewers, but it's a great shot. Mary Lou summons up her creepy magic chest to consume Craig in a poltergeist-themed fashion. But Principal Ironside steps up to save the day by giving Mary Lou what she's always wanted, her crown. Which actually does seem to appease her spirit. He then steals a kiss. Then we get this strange, out-of-place flashback. Again, always mentioned, but it's way out of place. Craig then pulls Vicky from the trunk, where she's wearing her clothes from the chalkboard scene, and he asks her the one question that he needs to ask to know if it's genuinely her.
You dig sugar in your coffee?
No, that stuff will kill you.
Told you it was important. The three of them walk out of the school interrupted by the police and everyone else, even after everyone just saw Principal Ironside shoot Vicky and then a murder monster tear free from her chest. Principal Ironside reveals himself now to be possessed by Mary Lou. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is when he stole the smooch from her. Mary Lou then drives off the two lovers to murder them at an undisclosed location, and nothing of value was lost. There are two characters that are credited in this film, and I'm unable to locate them. The first is Mr. King, named for Stephen King, the famous author, and the second one is Matthew Dante, named for Joe Dante.
Final thoughts. Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2? It does have some interesting elements, and a few generally chilling moments. But as a whole, it's a jumbled mess. While it doesn't live up to its predecessor as a sequel, which it was never really intended to be, it does stand better on the grounds of music, whereas the original Prom Night became very dated with its disco. This one stands apart and actually has aged better with the use of the 50s music to highlight Mary Lou's character. So, I would say this movie is definitely worth a watch if you're in a so bad it's good kind of mood. Otherwise, I'd watch the original. Next time on Horror Fanatic, Prom Night 3, The Last Kiss.